important matchup comes our way. Team Dignitas will have the first pick one more time. And of course, that means they have the first ban. So down goes Kepri.
Taking away the Circuit, surprisingly, from Cuvo Fred. The Hunmats was a big factor, I would say, in terms of controlling these team fights, not to mention the sustain, obviously. You can't take away all of these options away from Team Dignitas right off the bat.
Bang.
So,
love those
just
bans.
like that, focusing out on Cuvo.
Those bans are very important. Circuit was banned last time. One, she's just powerful in the meta, but also two, she's a powerful pick in the hands of Cuvo Fred. Cuvo Fred, if you're going to give him a basic assassin, it's going to be Circuit. He's going to do work, and then the Hunbats controlled the team fight a little bit too much, so Eanix bans that out. I love the bans coming out from the right side of the screen. They're going to go ahead and select Rom one more time for Funball, which I think is one of his best characters, and Thor one more time for Cherio. Things were, I'd give Cherio a solid B+ in last game, but he can do better, and I like Eanix depending on it.
Oh, wow. Cuvo Fred now locking in the Ratatasker, matching Global with Global. We haven't seen this guy in quite a while after his nerf to the ultimate, as well as a little bit of a cooldown taken away from some of his abilities. So we're going to see that back into play in one of the most important games for both of these teams.
It's all about matching the pace. Team Dignitas were okay with leaning back and just sort of waiting and letting the game come to them last time around. This time, Team Dig want to play fast. They don't have that sustain to really lean on. They don't have this hyper late game with a Ratatasker jungle. They want to start winning a little bit earlier, and whatever Cherio is going to go ahead and do, Ratatasker is going to match.
And I like what Eanix does here. Despite not having Aphrodite for Team Dignitas, they don't have to ban Aphrodite if they have the Odin.
Exactly.
So now they're going to ban away other mid-mages potentially, with the Giannis could potentially look to also ban away the Nua.
And Big Man Tings, one of his first professional games, played the Odin. I really hope I get to say what chat knows I want to say. Big Man Rings. I mean, come on now. It's just this guy was born to play this.
Is this where I walk off the set right here, right now?
That's where you go get aggro and say, "Go, he's doing your thing." Second round of bans come out. No Giannis, no Ymir, says Eanix, and Isis will be banned out next to Zeus.
They definitely wanted to make sure that the combinations of the circles wasn't going to be a factor, but they forgot about the Vulcan, right? With Eanix having the next pick between Vulcan, Zeus, and Isis, there was no potential for Team Dignitas to strip away all three of those gods.
So we see the new Wa that was banned last time, something that Zeros is strong at, so he'll pick that one up. Osiris is selected, and the last pick of the draft will go to Eanix.
Nua and Osiris is a pretty good selection.
Kuzenbo
for Eanix. The question is, where is this Odin and Kuzenbo going to go? I'm expecting that Zayla is going to play Kuzenbo. He's normally liking the Guardians. And against an Osiris here that's looking to play very aggressive, you can easily take advantage of that by pushing him into your tower.
Kuzenbo is weird. Zayla likes weird. As I said, Big Man Tings is a fantastic Odin player, one of the first gods he came out with. So I really expect that to be the lineup. Cherio in the jungle, Ram. Let's get to it. Game number 2, very big deal. Eanix needs to win this one if they want to stay in it.
12 points currently for Team Dignitas. Eanix still having 11. And don't forget, there's another team outside of these two that's watching this game very curiously to see the outcome here. Energy sitting at 9 points. Their next set is going to be against Sanguine Esports. And Energy has 9 points. Sanguine, they don't have a single win this whole entire split. So if Energy finds a 2-0, they will also be at 12 points potentially.
Well, Energy versus Sanguine. I don't mean to take away your drama totally, but Energy versus Sanguine. Team Dignitas versus Phoenix, or Eanix, excuse me. Very different story here. And we talked about how big, how much power this one single match has. And Zelia brings out Kuzenbo, a god that people just call bad. Now, Kuzenbo, we've seen him be played at the highest level by Maniac.
He did well.
He did. That's putting it lightly. He did extremely well. But that Kuzenbo is picked into a specific bursty composition. I mean, Zelia here, as a solo laner yourself, what do you think about the choice?
There's a little bit of control here in the form of Kuzenbo. It's not as much control as a Sobek could provide, at least consistently, because the knockup from Kuzenbo is all fine and dandy, but that's from his ultimate. Nice little damage, though, onto Arkel on the left, and with the dash coming from Funballer, the meditation buying a little time for Arkel. Funballer eating a little bit of poke in return, but everything is fine and dandy for both of these hunters.
Meditation is such a mistake hider. Oh, pushed into the tower early on. Variety tastes the shell. He's still going to live. Double tap only hits on the way back, so not too much damage. Zelia trying to look towards his own blue buff. Gets slowed down by Variety, but still punches players and unable to really secure it. Variety picks up the enemy blue.
Variety, though, he walked into the blue buff to pick it up, but luckily for him, he had all 8 missing fragments, so he has a lot of damage mitigation. 16% physical, 8% magical. He's not really worried about taking too much damage with that passive.
So Zelia here on the Kuzenbo. Jokes aside, what's his whole, how does he play this lane? What is Kuzenbo looking for? What does Kuzenbo do?
He's going to throw out the Nene Kappa to clear the wave.
That's the turtle.
Yeah, he's going to have more clear with an extra minion to his side, and he's going to look for a lot of aggression, but big man Tings is getting aggressed on by Trickstank and Arkle. And not to mention Variety, who's known to play aggressive, playing a very aggressive god on Osiris. There might be some opportunities for Zelia just to push this player under his tower, which almost netted them first blood at level 2.
We saw it very early on, and that's really what this god can do and surprise you with. Although solo Sobek doesn't get any flips out of the tower, and Hercules rarely does too, so I think that's something that players will just get adjusted to.
And something we haven't mentioned is the thorns out of Zelia as well. That could be another good opportunity in the late game. Once Zeros' ultimate gets a little bit more online, more levels, more damage as well, that's going to be a big factor in terms of shutting down the mid laner out of Team Dignitas.
That's what I was really originally thinking of, was the fact that this character does very well against burst mages and multi-hunter compositions, because you're just ingesting so much damage from across the way that you're able to deal it back thanks to your built-in thorns. So when you see Zeros with that ultimate, he can't cancel that. Once you commit, you see the circle on you, you know that you're going to get hit by some damage coming back, so you're not going to be able to see Zeros save himself with the ultimate anymore, because he's going to die. Nice little dodge out of the mid lane Vulcan to avoid the knock-up out of the jungle gank we saw in the mid lane. But right now, Arkle stuck in the ring. Basics out of Funball, takes to the sky after the meditation. 1-2, and he's gone. Big man Tings with the kill right there. First blood going the way of Eanix. BMT now slowed in a little bit of trouble. Funball's gonna eat the stun. And a nice support from the Hunter position this time around, both by slows and body blocks to save his friend's life.
Without the ultimate from Cubo Fred, as it was invested in the mid lane, not able to really have it for the left-hand side for the counter gank potential, doing a great job at finding the first blood on the side of Eanix. Team Dignitas can respond here, and this could be problematic here. It's not the Hunter role is not a role that you want necessarily to be behind in the early stages.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the whole things, that hunters are already kind of, they're not supposed to be extremely strong early on. So putting them even further behind, well, that's just rough. Variety staying aggressive, like you said. Cherio just walks in a lane, drops the Zerka's Barrage, doesn't even need to ult. There's a nice wall, but Variety's helped out not only by his own passive, but also an ultimate and a tricks.
Cubo Fred, though, on the backhand side, looking to invade the blue buff yet again away from Zelia. He's just not having a good time in terms of securing his own blue buff, no matter what Guardian he plays, but Zeros picking up the Aegis once he came into the game, recognizing the damage potential between this Thor, Vulcan, and Odin combination.
People don't like level 1 Aegis for whatever reason, but I say it all, when you're looking at a Vulcan, when you're looking at a Kraken Man, when you're looking at a Nuwa, maybe not, but specifically Vulcan and Poseidon, you almost have to go the Aegis level 1, because the burst out of these characters is more devastating than the control out of these characters. That's why I like to see characters like Hunbats or Ares paired with those mages, because, well, what do you do at level 1? Is it Aegis or Beads? You've got to make that decision.
Especially when you're going to be trapped in that Odin cage. It's just confirmed damage every single time by Lobster. There could be some small window of opportunity for Zeros to use his ultimate to get into the sky before the Vulcan ultimate hits, but that's such a small marginal window that you're not really relying on that every single time. You want to make sure you use the Aegis to prevent the damage, and then use your own ultimate to secure some kills that might have gotten away from you.
And just like we were talking about before, Zeros is going to take some poke. He'll be down to about half HP. The ring comes down. They poke him some more. He takes to the sky to make sure he doesn't die, and then Zelia laughs to the bank after he kills him with his thorns. Cherio pops up.
He got spotted out. Everyone from Team Dignitas is just like, nope, we're going to chill under our towers. You waste your ultimate. Nice. I'll see you again in 90 seconds.
Yeah. Nice stuff coming out from the guys on Dig to avoid Cherio right there. That's always a terrible feeling in store. You go up and you... I love that we were riding with Cherio because he looks left, he goes, Oh, they retreated. He looks right. He goes, oh, he retreated too. Well, I guess I'll go say hi. And he goes as far as possible. And he just sort of lands. Not going to happen this time around. Eanix, the only team on the board with a kill here. First blood. But Team Dignitas wound up finding that 500 gold in the jungle. And they wind up finding Lobster right here all in the mid lane. Gotta just, ooh, whoa.
That's
Lobster
the
didn't even
difference.
get a chance.
No, not at all. He used an Aegis of himself, but he was just out of position, couldn't get back under the safety of his tier 1 tower. Both of these mid-mages are very vulnerable if they're left alone, and taking advantage of that is Team Dignitas.
Cherio just dropping down the damage as the enemy tries to invade onto his speed. Down comes the ring, down comes a shot from Funball. Xaylia gets a kill for him and his team. That's number 2. And that'll be the disengage out of Team Dignitas. Without their support, Trickstank there to help out by Roots or Sustain. Everybody's got to run. Xaylia gets the kill. Nice job for the Turtle Man.
Well, trading 1 for 1, though. You know, you got the mid-mage, but you lose your support in the process. Not the worst thing in the world that could have happened for Team Dignitas. Obviously, not using the meditation there was a big detrimental factor. It might have still been on cooldown there for Trickstank, but not much to respond on the form of Eanix off of that 1 pick.
Calder going to be called back by Arkle, who seems to have control over this lane despite being half a level down versus Funball. Arkle's still very scary to the UK Hunter here. Funball being very cautious until his support comes in lane and then kind of down to do whatever he wants. Both solo laners are very low, but only one solo laner has a jungle in the lane as well. Xaylia turned around. He knows he's there. He pushes him into the tower, drops down the thorns, drops down the ultimate. Cubo Fred, you played yourself.
Oh my goodness. The communication between Cherio as well as Xaylia just on point. Xaylia was looking at the minimap of when it was necessary. The Tether not wanting to commit under that tier 1 tower with the teleport from Xaylia.
That right there, Xaylia won an Oscar. He acted from here, from this position. We see Cherio trailing, right? So obviously the communication is there that Cubo Fred is coming in the lane. Watching Xaylia dance with Variety right there, it doesn't look like Xaylia has any clue. And he turns around at the last possible moment to ensure that he gets the push down. That was just an absolute wonderful performance by Xaylia. Encore, my friend.
And that kill doesn't happen without the communication from Cherio being in position with that satellite ultimate, recognizing Radtasker was right behind the Kuzimbo. But this time around, it seems that Team Dignitas wants a little bit of revenge here.
Yeah, I don't know if Xaylia can, I don't know if he's going to be a 2-time winner here.
The stun.
Getting stunned out, and he'll walk onto the tower. Still alive at the moment. Relatively tanky with that level 2 breastplate and the Mark of the Vanguard. And that's all Xaylia needs. Wow, I can't wait to see. Oh man, I just want to see that play one more time later on.
Arkle forced to use the ultimate, taking a little bit of damage, diving the backline as Trickstank, setting his teammates up. Thor into the sky as well as Funballer, rather, excuse me. Finding 1 kill onto Arkle, but responding onto Cherio.
Oh, big man Tings has his stomping boots on. He loses his Hunter. As Zero's able to take him down, but big man Tings takes down the opponent. Nice little root coming out. Lobster's in trouble, and he's going to fall down as well. Cubo Fred tosses him out. And that's another kill of 4. Team Dignitas, 1 for the jungler, but Zeros, before he goes down, picks up number 3.
This might be a point in time where Lobster might want to invest into a winged blade because he's going to get rooted guaranteed before the beads comes out at level 12. So having the winged blade here is not only going to give him the health to survive these team fights, but just to negate the slow from the passive out of Trickstank. Whenever you do use any of your abilities, the stones come out, your in-hands are going to start slowing down. So having that little bit of mobility boosted on the side of Vulcan could be the difference between life or death.
That's a really big application of the Terra kit that is rarely spoken about. And yet when she came out, I think that was the #1 thing that people were concerned about was the slow. And it definitely has an impact in almost every match she's played in, but it's always plays second fiddle to the monolith sustain and the global ultimate that she brings out.
Not to mention here, if Zeros decides to go for the Gem of Isolation here, starting off with the tier 1 Sash currently, I don't necessarily expect that to be the case right off the bat. Ooh, I like the idea, that mindset that Xaylia had there, trying to use the ultimate to continue to push Variety under that tier 1 tower, just wasn't in position to do so.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of the gimmick out of Kuzimbo, is push you on the tower and keep you locked under the tower so that not only are you doing damage with your ultimate, but also your good buddy with the shots up top is also dealing it out. Azalea right here still doesn't have proper clear at level 11. We look at some of these characters in the solo lane like Amaterasu that come online very late. That's a level 9 clear without a blue stone that you're looking at. As soon as she hits level 9, you get that full clear with the magic mirror. Here, Azalea, like I said, level 11, still unable to fully clear the wave.
More of a controlled guardian than necessarily damage oriented. He's more of a guy who was like, you want to do something to me, I'm going to do all my damage off of you doing stuff to me. So this is kind of what the presence is being brought on the table in the form of this solo laner from Eanix.
So with level 13 to level 11, largely I think because of the lack of wave clear available to Azalea, is this going to be a problem for Eanix going forward, or is the way Kuzenbo works out, is that totally fine?
For a Guardian to be 2 levels behind, no matter what it is, whether it's Kuzenbo, Sobek, Ymir, it doesn't matter. You're still bringing a lot of control in these team fights, so I don't think it's that big of a deal for Eanix, unless they're going to start leaning on the solo laner, trying to take the tier 1 tower and the tier 2 away.
Zeros gets locked up, and Cherio takes to the sky. Could be trouble for Nuwa. There's the big old dunk, and not the kill just yet. There's a nice meditation. Saves the life of the mid laner. Well done.
Arkill's on the side, though. He didn't want to try to commit to that team fight without the ultimates from Cherio, Lobster, and Funballer, though, and not to mention Big Man Tings. That could have been an opportunity to turn things around. They had Trickstank and Arkill's ultimates.
A lot of damage done. Here comes the Gold Fury being aggressed on. First one goes to Eanix. But will Cherio be taken out? He will. Cubo Fred puts him down. Lobster gets caught out. Nice little pincer maneuver, but no damage or stun coming out onto Mr. Lobster.
It seems that Team Dignitas, they don't care about Gold Fury being down. If they're going to group up like this, find a pick, use that monolith for a little bit, sustain, get 500 gold back in return, and with this timer, it's 13 minutes time, Portal Demon is up. They're going to get some more gold in their own pockets.
Yeah, it's actually a win for Team Dignitas, believe it or not, giving the Gold Fury to the other team, letting the jungler fall down. Cubo Fred barely makes it out of the damage with the Portal Demon, like you said. That's going to be a twofer. Team Dignitas get the tower and the Portal Demon, and despite the fact that Eanix are the first ones on the objective board by taking down the Gold's Fury, Team Dignitas still find themselves with a straight 1,000 lead.
And with a 1-game lead in this 2-game set, this is a great position for Team Dignitas to be, to start things off. Not the biggest lead in the world here, but they've been making the plays necessary to counteract the aggression from Eanix. Eanix's composition is almost all Inish, I would say, between Big Man Tings playing this Odin, Azalea as well, playing the Kuzenbo, and if they don't find the necessary picks like they didn't onto Zeros on the Nuwa earlier on, then they're going to get punished continuously by Team Dignitas.
So as commentators, our job is usually to start or continue a conversation. I want to stop one before it even starts. The conversation about the draft from Eanix being bad. I think just because Kuzenbo is selected, a lot of people are going to look back on this if Eanix should lose and say that it was because of the Kuzenbo selection. But I actually think that this is so what Eanix does. You've got Lobster on a Vulcan, Funball on a Rom, Big Man Tings on an Odin. These are 3 iconic characters for iconic players. Cherio trying to make an iconic play on Arkle, but the ultimate chased out, and I think that's going to be totally fine. Cherio comes through on the Thor, which I can take it or leave it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And Zelia doing something weird is exactly what Zelia usually does when he needs to succeed. So sure, this is the do or die game. Win or go home, or stay home, I guess. And he picked Kuzenbo? I think a lot of people are shaking their head, but I think that's exactly what Zelia needs to do.
Oh, great timing to go into the sky, preventing the Vulcan ultimate just like that. But the turnaround play, Trix and Cubo using their ultimates. Great route, Cherio able to disengage for the moment.
5-5. Definitely thought that was going to be a 7 kill for Team Dignitas.
In the solo lane, though, Variety's doing a lot of damage to Zelia, being pushed under that tier 1 tower, taking a lot of tower shots, but fully stacked up with all those missing fragments. Zelia, though, he's getting the better end of this trade, and with Big Man Tings right around the corner, this could be a kill.
There's the slow, there's the push. Variety gets taken down by Big Man Tings. You didn't like the fact that he stole that from Zelia, did you?
Meditation. No. The meditation from Trickstank was just not in time and not in range there. The push from Zelia under that tier 2 tower really disrupting the connection of the safety between the solo and the Guardian out of Team Dignitas.
That's also a big deal when you look at what Kuzenbo brings besides Kuzenbo, excuse me. Letting my colloquialism slip. Cherio, not going to be casual about this one at all. Ooh, nice little maneuver, but it doesn't save the Hunter's life. I love how Arco was able to position that ice field to push Thor away, but being very mobile just doesn't matter. 1-on-3 here on the right side for Team Dignitas, defending this tier 1 tower. Not going to happen. And Eanix puts 500 gold in their pocket, now taking the lead away from Team Dignitas. Back and forth we go.
These teams are just so even. We could say this all day if we wanted to, Tom. Despite Team Dignitas winning that last game, it took them up until about the 30-minute mark to have an substantial advantage to really go for Fire Giant and for some of these tier 2 towers and Phoenixes. And now heading into game 2, just like a seesaw action. Team Dignitas yet again slightly in the lead, but you can never count out Eanix. If you're a little bit too aggressive, they're going to punish you.
Variety jumps away, and Big Man Tings doesn't feel the need to drop the ring. I think that's a great call, knowing that that ultimate is going to be able to come out of Osiris and make it a wasted ability. Going to save it for next time. 4 ultimates available on Team Dignitas. Variety just burning his, whereas Cherio's ult is the only one down here for Eanix as we pass 17 on the clock. 12 on the kills, and 7 belong to Eanix at the moment. And right now, teams are looking for their positioning around this Gold Fury. It's going to spawn very soon, in fact, just about 15 seconds. And that's where I think teams are going to either want to fight or look for after the next fight. And right away, you can see the positioning out of the blue squad, just getting ready to take down the big Harpy.
Warding is the big key factor here around this point in time because the Gold Fury has respawned now. Good defensive sentry wards from Dignitas, making sure that there's no aggressive wards out of Eanix, just to, because if you don't have the aggressive wards, you're not going to start Gold Fury. Team Dignitas recognize this, making sure to deny that option away from the red Chaos squad. Cubo Fred, though, doing a little bit of poke onto Big Man Tings, but trading ultimates here wouldn't be a bad idea for Eanix. Odin for Ratatasker. Now you don't really have to get worried about disrupting your backline.
Yeah, no, and I will trade an Odin ring for a Ratatasker ult every day of the week. I think Ratatasker has the larger impact here in this match specifically. Cherio takes to the sky, lands down again on his teammate, but the stun sets up the alley-oop. Lobster brings it down, and Big Man Tings finishes it off. 5-0-1 for the support, Odin.
Cubo Fred surprisingly dying with both of his relics available there. Purification Beads was up as well as the Aegis. Salius made the rotation, and Teleport is not available for the opposition of Variety.
Arkle gets pushed out, but his damage takes down Cherio and almost takes out Zelia as well. Zero's being chased on the right side, while Trix Tank gets pushed down on the left-hand side. Zero's jukes around, but he's gonna fall down anyway. That's gonna be number 9 for Eanix. 6-9 right now. Team Dignitas trailing, unlike game number 1. Just underneath 20 minutes on the clock here, folks. And Eanix able to take the lead. Very strong play. If you're a fan of Lobster and Friends, they could find this split. And again, to remind you, if you're just tuning in, should Eanix win match number 2 instead of match number 1, and it winds up being a split, that means we got a tie. We got to play more games.
Oh, going into the backline is Variety. The Portal Demon does get secured by Eanix, but they lose their mid laner.
Lobster goes down, Variety chasing Zelia. In fact, 3 players chasing Zelia. Funball and Big Man Tings waiting around the backside. Not enough. Ring comes down, so does Cherio. Up, down, out of the support. Cherio picks up one while Funball cleans up the other. Still on the offensive, forced out by Arkle, frankly. And Cherio is going to be forced into the Relic. Still dealing damage, slowed out. Double tap doesn't find it. Zerkers does. Cherio gets number 4. Still continuing. Nah, Trix Tank gonna be left alone, but Eanix pick up the Portal Demon, they pick up the team fight, they trade 2 for 3 in that, and just a wonderful sequence coming out from Eanix right there, furthering their lead to about 3,500.
Team Dignitas looked like they were about to turn that one around after the Portal Demon. You know, they found the first 2 kills originally, but they just chased Zelia a little bit too far into the speed buff out of Eanix, and the double ultimates between Big Man Tings and Cherio, finding multiple targets out of position. There was no potential escape despite finding those 2 kills.
So without the displacement available, if you're just chasing Zelia dealing damage, he's going to be tanky thanks to that passive. Obviously his build is tanky. 5 players chasing 1, you think you have the lead, but you don't. And Zelia brings the enemy directly to his team, and down he goes. Team Dignitas defends their tier 1 tower in the mid lane. It's hanging on by the skin of its teeth here, Toli. And Eanix able to just walk in and poke it down a couple of times, but will they find that opportunity? Different story. Cherio, well, players are dancing, decides to go farm.
Oh, the blink ultimate out of Big Man Tings. Vulcan ultimate connecting onto 2. Arkle dying in the backline. Cherio landing as well. Cubo Fred gets eliminated. 2 members dead from Dignitas.
Cherio with the big boy plays here in this game. Very quiet In game number 2, Variety picks up the Okie Doke, but definitely going to trade out here. Stun is good on the other side, so maybe I'll have to revise my statement. Variety, no, he'll definitely fall down.
3 for 1. Team Dignitas are struggling. Eanix looking so good here, finding another objective after the tier 1 tower. And meanwhile, Cherio, he went originally to get the red buff during the tier 1 tower push, and he had the ultimate to dive the backline, trying to save the life of Lobster. Not able to do so, but it doesn't matter because they're going to be rewarded 2 towers and now potentially this Phoenix.
Yeah, another spin on top of Zeros, brings them down to half HP. Trick's Tank trying to defend. Phoenix hanging on, 25% already. Relic chased out thanks to Kuzenbo. In the mid lane of Phoenix falls down. Trick's Tank really can't do much about that.
This was a totally different game compared to the last one. Eanix finds the Phoenix at the 22-minute mark. Big Man Tinks gets slowed out by Arkill. He might have to sacrifice his life, but he throws out the ultimate, jumps away as well. The Phantom was used by Trick's Tank, but not going to be able to chase down anyone else. Azalea gets assisted by Cherio with a beautiful wall.
A little bit of usage of the ultimate there. Kuzenbo has had a very large impact in this game. Low on the damage charts, but the way he's able to control the enemy, a number of times we've seen the flank come out from Zelia, push the enemy directly into whatever nonsense Eanix wants to do, whether it's just basics from Funball, a giant jump from Big Man Tings, and that's another thing. You think you're going to escape the Odin Ring, Zelia's going to push you into it before the ring comes down.
It's not necessarily about how much damage you do on the form of Zelia. It's about the timing of your damage. You're trying to use your thorns internally and your relic thorns to shut down some of these members. Not only that, when your spikes are visible, nobody's going to be doing damage to you either. So even though you're not doing damage, you're preventing the enemy opposition from doing damage.
It's fun. Game number 1, the lesson was don't pay attention to the kills all the time. It's about when you deal the kills and how impactful those kills are. Look at the damage charts. Arkill and Variety are leading damage. Number 1 is, for anybody on Eanix, is going to be Cherio, surprisingly enough. So despite the fact that Eanix overall is dealing less damage than Team Dignitas, it's the fact that the damage out of Eanix is coming when it's absolutely necessary. It's giving them space, it's giving them the ability to start fights like this and pick up whatever they want.
Variety getting dove, but he has the ethereal form to be able to get through that wall. 5 members on the right-hand side from Eanix trying to get an additional 1,500 gold under their pocket. Nice little stun by Trick's Tank, but it's not going to really deter too much against this late-game Rama.
Big spot for Team Dignitas. They need to defend here totally. Arkill starting things off right, getting the kill on Big Man Tings. Cherio comes down while Funball goes up. That's going to be a kill out of the enemy jungler. Team Dignitas have a great sequence right here. Variety continues it. 2 down for the side of Eanix, and the chase is on. Arkill again, unofficial double kill for the Hunter. That's going to put number 12 on the board. Team Dignitas absolutely needed to stop the rush of Eanix right there, and that's exactly what they do.
They don't defend their tier 2 tower, but they sacrifice Cuvo Fred just to be able to secure 3 kills of their own. They're going to get the Fire Giant, but look where Thor is. Cherio has a Fire minion wave down the Titan room. No, if there were more minions potentially here, but the Fire Giant has been secured. Goldfear is also going to get taken here by Funballer.
He's going to do some damage. Now, if he was playing jungle Hebo,
that would be a lot of damage. Just chipping away at the Titan could leave the vulnerability here for Team Dignitas just to throw the game potentially if they're just out of position to defend. The mid Phoenix does get easily taken out once it will get revived. It takes more damage. Not only that, it responds at 50% health and doesn't go above that point in time anyway. So there could be a lot of plays where Eanix could look for that Titan.
I'm still enthralled about watching that set from Team Dignitas right there. They don't defend that tier 2 tower over there on the right side, but that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for just the stop. They need to just stop Eanix from continuing the momentum push. They lose the tower, but they get the positive trade there. I think it was a 3 for 2 or a 3 for 1. That in turn allows them to go ahead, pick up the Fire Giant. They're going to pick up the Portal Demon as well. This was an 8,000 gold separation, and it still is at the moment. Team Dignitas behind, but right now they have the Fire Giant behind them, and they're able now, they have the momentum. They're able to fight into Eanix, despite the fact that Eanix is leading by so much because of this Fire Giant push, and they're able to just stop what could have been the tumble salt out of Eanix.
Not only that, Funballer made a very smart decision by not necessarily going with Cherio, trying to chip away at the Titan, but taking away the Gold Fury,
Very smart.
recognizing that with this Fire Giant buff, Eanix doesn't necessarily want to fight you during this duration, so instead taking more gold into their pocket, making sure Team Dignitas is still going to be behind.
So right there, is Cherio's goal to solo the Titan?
Not necessarily to solo, but just to get more members off of the Fire Giant, trying to make it last longer, making sure that it's not getting taken that quickly. So it could be a little bit of a tactic ploy, and now you revealed your cards.
It's also about what you do after the Fire Giant. If there's a Thor on your Titan, he's not killing it in 2 seconds, but he can kill it in 30.
Yes.
And if you take your
especially
Fire
with
Giant,
a Fire Mini Wave.
If you take your Fire Giant and you push up the waves like you're quote-unquote supposed to, the Thor's just going to take it. So it forced Eanix to go ahead and respond. Cherio ulting.
Trickstank using his Phantom to allow them to disengage from
Big
that
play.
Odin Cage. Cubo Fred still in the sky, landing on top of Xaylia, stunning him out. Not going to be doing too much here. Xaylia has to retreat. Terrace Blessing being used. The Vulcan ultimate connects onto Trickstank. Nice little meditation to be used. Variety's diving the back, though.
That single ultimate on a Lobster puts him #1 in the player damage. Not content with just that, Funball wants to fight back as well. Lands 2 out of 3. Here's a nice stun coming out of Cherio, but players able to walk around in zeros.
Oh, a big man barely survived that. Look at his health pool.
Yeah.
Xaylia has to retreat as well. His teleport is available. He's going to be back into this team fight. It's going to be a 4-on-5, and Dignitas are retreating, trying. This could be a bait.
Yeah, look at Eanix right here coming around the backside. Xaylia and Cherio, those are the two that you want to flank. Xaylia can push into your damage, and Cherio can stop the retreat. Xaylia gets stunned out, thorns, and deals some of the damage back. Love that play. Nice little bounce of the little Kappa, and he'll damage out zeros just a little bit.
Big Man Tank still on the side. His ultimate
Does he have
is
beads?
available. He did beads away from that Thor wall. Big Man Tank still looking to trap in some more members. The Phantom is not available for Trickstank to get out of this one.
Xaylia and friends fighting into the team with the Fire Giant. Eanix now very strong, pushing up. Cubo Fred, this ult is going to be very important. Knocks up one, gets an Aegis on the other. There's the ring and a BMT. There goes the Frenzy, and it's going to allow the continuing team fight. Damage onto Cubo Fred, who falls down. It's the Turtle Man with the Turtle Plan. Lobster picks up the kill, #18. Eanix going to fight directly into the Fire Giant buff. Lobster picks up his 2nd kill of the game. It's only his 2nd. It's only #2.
That's all he needed. This timing is all that matters. Variety trying to find something in return. Lord of the Afterlife onto one, but it's not enough. Everyone here to respond, saving Lobster's life. Eanix survives the Fire Giant push out of Team Dignitas. They hold on to their tier 2 tower. They grab 2 towers of their own.
Now you can say that people at home might say it was because of the lead, but look at the itemization. The lead that Eanix had just wasn't, it's not like they have an extra item or 2 items. Dignitas, they have their items. So that was just straight up Eanix fighting better than what Team Dignitas could bring to them. What an excellent set here. Eanix looking for the split again, reminding fans at home, this will bring us to a tiebreak scenario if the red team go ahead and win. Eanix shifting over to the left side after taking down the mid Phoenix.
Finding it very easily. Cherio in the sky, making sure it's very difficult for Zeros to go into that backline. Cubo Fred's waiting in as well, trying to wait it out. The great patience out of Cubo Fred.
2nd time that that's happened, and Cubo's going to keep on keeping on. Eanix can't push into the Phoenix. Team Dignitas successfully defend.
That's all they needed to do, smiting on to defend that left side Phoenix.
So you're seeing this time and time again. Cherio goes up, Cubo Fred sees it, or Cubo Fred goes up, forcing Cherio to go up. And Cherio sits there waiting for the rat to come down. But Cubo Fred knows that the Ratatasker ultimate stays in the sky longer. Cherio is forced to waste his ultimate land on his team.
It's solo waiting game, not wanting to dive the Phoenix is Cherio. It's just a great idea trying to stop the global ultimate of Cubo Fred, but the duration just doesn't favor the Thor player in that scenario.
That's the 2nd time it happened. Cherio can't allow that to happen a 3rd time.
Oh, Lobster.
Variety jumps forward, Lobster chops the ultimate, and it's 1-on-3. Here comes Cherio. Cubo Fred already got the kill.
Cubo Fred taking 1 off the table, and that's going to be a 2nd one dead for Eanix. The stun onto 2. Funballer getting dope in the backline. Cubo Fred landing onto him. It's going to be the 3rd member dead potentially. It is successful. Aegising away into safety. 5-on-2. Xaylia and Big Man Tings has to defend mid.
Variety, the one-man band, does it by himself, walks into 5. His teammates show up late, but fashionably late. 4 players dead. on the side of Eanix. They're certainly not around. And they're going to watch their tier 2 tower fall down from the black and white death screen.
This is a long
1,500.
Long respawn timer. There also are minions. Now, it doesn't take away backdoor protections, but these clay golems could tank the Titan for a little bit, and it seems that Team Dignitas, they might be trying to go for the end.
They're going right for it. Frenzy means fight. The Titan in trouble. Half HP already. Anatoly, 31 on the clock. Eanix is trying to defend here. Zeros gets the kill on a big man Tings. The damage is being dealt onto the Titan. This one is going to be in trouble. Cherio gets a kill. Still
it's
not
so
dead
low.
yet. Titan goes down. That's going to be Team Dignitas. Eanix comes up square. Team Dignitas take the entire